Hi, welcome to the Rediff Podcast. With us today is Arti Dwarkadas. She was actually for many years in the creative field at Rediff.com, and suddenly one day she had an urge to buy a 10-acre piece of land in very rural Maharashtra. And she started farming. She's written a book about it. We're here to talk about her book and why she did this strange thing.
Very strange thing indeed. Thank you for having me. So happy to be back here. And yes, very strange thing. Why did I do it? It happened during the lockdown. It was lockdown madness, midlife crisis. People were having dalgona coffee and sourdough bread. And I bought a piece of land. And seriously, if I thought about it, I wouldn't have done it. If I had any experience in farming, I wouldn't have done it. If I knew anything about farming, I wouldn't have done it. This was just urban confidence saying if I'm successful in my urban field, I can do anything anywhere. Trust me, it is the hardest thing I have ever done.
So, I followed you on Facebook for many years. So you were a very you had a very flourishing balcony garden and all that. But it's still, the question sort of begs to be asked as to somebody who doesn't really have any familiarity with villages, rural India, in spite of whatever confidence you had, as why did you suddenly decide to, was there some connection maybe earlier on that you felt that the fact that you're going into the kit and you're sticking your feet into the mud and the earthworms and the scorpions and actually pulling out paddy and replanting it. Why? Again, why?
If you do it all the way or you don't do it. I'm not the kind of person who'll say, I bought a piece of land. Again, why I bought the piece of land remains a mystery. You can read the whole book. You still won't know why I bought the piece of land. Urban confidence met rural reality. But you know me. If I do something, you do it wholeheartedly. What's the point of buying land and say, abhi aap kheti karo, abhi aap kheti karo? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to buy it and do it all myself. And that was what we went in with, me and my partner, and that's what we continue to do. So it's rice season right now. Next week, I'll be there again, shin deep in mud, transplanting rice, if the weather permits.
And it seems like that Sunil, their husband, is sort of the third wheel in all these adventures. But I always think that what is this husband-wife dynamic that he let you do this and he then subsequently participated in it?
No, Sunil doesn't let me do anything. I do it because I wanted to. He thought I was nuts when I took this decision. He rolled his eyes, he spat his coffee into his mug, he just didn't know what I was doing and said, you do what you want, I'll drive you there maybe. That was what, as willing as he was right in the beginning, thought we were completely nuts. He really thought we were nuts. But then he kept coming, and he was our driver for a very, very long time. And got interested, strangely, when he saw the excavator. It just became this toy that he got fascinated with, and then suddenly he was saying, let's clear this land, let's level this field, let's make terraces here. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So frankly, I don't know how he got so obsessed with it, but he's the one who's got tech into our farm. He wants to get Silicon Valley into our farm, which is not going to happen. But if it wasn't for him, we'd have just sat and said, let it all be natural and beautiful and the way God intended it. But I think thanks to Sunil, we now have a terraced field and he's now with us all the time. So yeah, he's really the third reluctant wheel in our farm tricycle.
And who is the tricycle? Who is your, I understand her name is Suzanne.
Her name is Suzanne.
How do you know her? And
she worked with Sunil. Okay. She worked with Sunil, and during COVID, she called Sunil and said, I want to do this. I want to go into organic farming, sustainability, but I need somebody to do it with because I can't do all of this by myself. And Sunil said, 1 minute, and he passed the phone to me saying, see what she's saying. And I said, yes, I'm in.
And equal levels of madness.
Equal levels of madness and so much of fun, so much of hard work, but I wouldn't change it for anything. And I got a book out of it.
Yeah, your book is very readable, it's very funny, but then you do go into very little bits of very serious stuff because I can see that you're sort of, it seems to have changed your life completely.
Oh, it has. It has really changed, I think, the way I think. It's not changed my life. My life continues to be in Bandra. It's not changed my life at all, but I think it's changed the way I think.
In what
My
sense?
respect for farmers is, I don't even think people realize how difficult it is to grow food. We just think it's something you go and you pick off the shelf. It is so difficult. There is no government help, aid, infrastructure. One crop goes bad, that's somebody's life gone. I come from privilege. If something goes wrong, and we've had many, many things go wrong, I can say, oh my God, what a horrible thing to happen. But I can pivot and say, all right, we'll plant something else. A small farmer can't do it. And I've had boars eat up 100 banana trees overnight. They're gone. It's taught me Marathi. Taught me patience. It's taught me lots of humility. It's taught me lots of humility because you can do everything right and still get it wrong. And that is not something that happens in professional life. It has taught me that you can't escalate. You do it yourself. There is nobody to escalate to. There is no call center. There's nothing. You do it, and if it fails, you start again. Because there's always another season. This crop has failed. You can't say, I won't do anything. You sow again. So you don't give up. And I think that is what farmers in all over the world do. They just don't give up. They have to keep going because there is no choice. Mm-hmm. And it's taught me climate change is awful. Climate change is just awful. The way we are suffering it, and I don't know what we're going to do because we just do not have we are the only ones with bore wells in maybe 20, 30 kilometers around. There's nobody else with a bore well. So we can do all year round farming. The rest of the people grow rice right now, and that's it. The rest of the time, their field is barren.
Why is it it's just a truck and equipment. So why can't the government provide borewell? I mean, I know that's a question you may not be able to answer, but
because you need it costs a lot of money, and then the minute you have a borewell, you need a pump.
Oh God.
And for that, you need an electricity connection.
Yeah, electricity connection.
So it's just one thing, and then you can't say 10 people share this borewell and pump because nobody's going to do it. And most of the farms are very, very small. I mean, I talk about 10 acres. The rest are less than a quarter of an acre. Government is not going to put in money for all of this. And you can't even expect them to, and I don't expect them to. We've actually had kids from the hamlet, and their teacher has brought them to say, see kids, this is how vegetables grow. And I'm in rural Maharashtra where you think they know how vegetables grow. And they've taught them this is how vegetables grow, and these kids are walking around looking at tomatoes growing, and because we have year-round farming thanks to our borewells.
Mm. What about the children? These?
Oh, they're adorable.
But what's going to happen to them? What are they going to become?
I fear. They've got free education till the 5th standard. But most of them go to school only for the midday meal. So they'll all turn up there by 11:30, 12. They won't be there in the morning. They'll get their midday meal. I don't know what happens. I don't know what they'll learn. And I keep saying, anybody in the hamlet who wants to send their kids for further education, that's something we will pay for. We'll pay for kids. But where am I going to send the closest school is 25, 30 kilometers away. You're not going to send a girl there because she'll have to go and live in a hostel. It's all difficult. So what's going to happen? I despair, honestly. And they keep saying, take them back to Bombay. How many can I take back to Bombay? And what will I do with them in Bombay? Oh, tumhe Bombay kyun jao? Thanks. That's really the answer.
So what do they think of you? I mean, first of all, when you probably right in the beginning when you arrived, they must have all sort of surrounded to see what you were up to. But what do they think of you, and why do they think you're doing this? And
they haven't understood. They haven't understood. The first time it's really funny because our broker said he refused to believe 2 girls were buying a farm. So they thought it was husbands who had some money that they wanted to illegally place in or buy land and buy it in their wife's name so it doesn't come in their name. And they said, it's your husband's. So I know, we're buying the farm. We're buying the farm. And finally he said, I get it. It's a hobby. No. This is not hobby farming at all. No, they haven't understood. They haven't. But what they have seen is 5 years down the line, we're still there every single week. They stand there and they watch us chin deep in water. So there's, I think, maybe grudging respect now, saying they don't know what they're doing, but at least they're doing it.
Means I'm thoda pagal hai.
Fully pagal hai. Fully pagal hai.
They said that?
Yeah, they say, they means they can't understand. You live in Bombay, because we want to go to Bombay. Why are you guys coming here? So yeah, the kayetat is... but now they're saying, all right, these silly people, they look like they've dug in their heels and they're going to keep coming. And they're now accepting us.
Well, you had a tiger.
We had a tiger visit. We've had boars. Or if the farm thing doesn't work, I'll start a zoo, really, the way things are going. We've had it because our farm abuts the forest. So our farm ends and forest begins. So we've had all kinds of creatures. We've had pythons come in. There's sell tickets, start a zoo. That is...
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that, I don't know, we all sort of read Gerald Durrell when you're young. You're doing sort of like adulting of Gerald Durrell.
I know. I should have done this when I was 30, not 60.
And what I'm always struck with the book is because, I mean, most people, as you talk about these people who are the holiday home type Bombayites, but I always wonder, you people... You go for the day, you don't want to set up a house or a home for yourself so that you can really stay overnight and you jog right back again. Why?
It's 135 kilometers door to door from literally. You cannot believe how rural Maharashtra is. Sometimes the electricity will go for 3 days, so people say, so what, put a generator. When the electricity goes, the mobile tower goes. So 3 days of no network. Mm-hmm. To change a light bulb sometimes takes a day and a half. Any small repair. It's, so yeah, of course I could build a house there, but so difficult to live there.
But why not stay overnight?
And I didn't want to do farm housing. Farm housing was never the plan. I didn't want to be in a house and look out at the farm. I wanted to be on the farm, which is a completely different thing. Because the minute you build a farmhouse, the luxuries of the farmhouse, setting it up, how's the lights, how's the AC, that was never going to be my priority. It's go there, work the land, talk to the village. We literally put chairs out, have a table, half the village, all kids come. I always go with sweets. God knows why those people are obsessed with jalebis. So I always have all these jalebis that I go with. And all the kids from the hamlet come and we have one little...
Jamboree.
Yeah, talk. Do some work, discuss what's to be done during the week, and which I wouldn't have done if I was worried about whether there's mold on my sofa.
But like even to stay overnight, some sort of simple cottage arrangement, or if you don't feel like driving on the way back.
You'll probably have to edit this out. I come from Bandra. I live a life where I'm not going to live in a place that is not very comfortable. I mean, I'm being very serious. I will need it to be to some level of...
You don't want to rough it out.
There's a limit. There's rough and there's rough. This would be serious rough. And lawyer husband never doing it.
Okay.
So he would drive back anyway. I might as well come with him.
Now, one question that crosses your mind, because as you said, you're from privileged background, but like, and if somebody wants to sort of follow in your footsteps and look at the tigers and the pythons and the,
that's not why I did this.
But like, what are the costs involved in this kind of thing?
Again, so variable, because we must have looked at maybe 40 plots of land before we settled on what we have currently. There are so many things. The minute you're doing road touch, these are all terms I learned while we were. Road touch becomes more expensive because then it's accessible by road. The minute you look for land that already has water, power, bore wells, electricity, it immediately becomes more expensive. So again, costs really depend on what level of comfort you want to go into. If there's already a small house there, the costs go up. What we bought, there was nothing. There was no electricity, the hamlet, and then there was no electricity. There was no water. Even the hamlet didn't have water. They had no running water. So we had nothing. We literally walked into a overgrown bush.
But why did you choose a piece of land that didn't have water? Why did you make it so hard for yourself?
Because we didn't know what we were doing. And if you want to do something that you don't know, you'd spend the least amount of money possible. We decided this was our budget. Let's try, because we knew it, but we knew nothing. And of course, our broker told us this was the best piece of land and we could grow rice. There's click a finger and you can grow rice and mango. This is fertile field. It's never been. We also got suckered into all of that. But yeah, the budget suited us.
Okay. And I mean, like, what can you describe the feeling? Like, I can see that your tomato seems to be your star crop, and but what is the sort of the feeling when you're getting an abundance of a certain crop?
Scary. Honestly, the answer is scary, because this year, 2026, we got about 500 kilos of tomatoes.
Oh my gosh.
Which is great when you say, wow, 500. What do you do with 500 kilos of tomatoes?
And
seriously, what do you do with 500 kilos? No, they don't come all at a time. They come in 70 kilos, 80 kilos, but like 10 times over. What do you do? And like I keep saying, we'd not thought this through. So what do you do when you have an abundance? We didn't know. So I started making marinara sauce at home. But there's a limit to how much marinara sauce you can make. This time I made 400 bottles. Who do you give them to? We don't have any. Seriously, we have not thought through this at all. We are winging it as we go along. But yep, all 400 bottles sold.
So you're selling them in place?
Yeah, I put them up on my Insta. I put them up. I send it to on WhatsApp groups. My sister lives in this gated community. She puts it up on her building WhatsApp group. 100 go in a day. But seriously, we hadn't. And then to do all of that, you need an FSSAI license. You need an Udyam license. I didn't know any of this. But we've just gone ahead and done it. And this is something that's there in my book. All the money that we make, small money, it's really very, very small money, goes into what we do for the kids in the hamlet. Mm-hmm. Because seriously, it's a drop in the ocean for them, for what they need. But everything goes back into.
So that means your fat in Bandra sometimes is carpeted with tomatoes.
I have the most expensive warehouse in the world because my guest bedroom is a tomato warehouse in Bandra West. Trust me, that's expensive. I sometimes have 200 kilos of tomatoes smelling up my Bandra guest bedroom.
You have to keep sorting to see which one has gone bad.
Yeah, twice a day. Okay, now let's make marinara out of this. And it's not, I don't have a commercial kitchen, so in my kitchen I can make maybe 40 kilos at a time. It takes a very long time to get through 400 kilos.
And I mean, in your book, when you end of your book, you sort of envision that you'll be doing this as long as you can.
Oh yeah, sure.
And sure. I mean, the passion keeps growing.
Oh, completely. The struggles keep changing, the passion keeps growing, but I think over time, again, like I've said in the book, when we started off, our neighboring hamlet, who were the only people around for miles, were not happy with us. They were furious that these outsiders had come. They were going to change their way of life. They were going to steal all their electricity. Just were a bad influence. They were very, very angry. And what they really thought, which goes back to what you'd asked earlier, they thought we'd build this mansion with air conditioners, and those air conditioners would suck out their power and not let them have enough power. So they blockaded when we tried to set up electric poles, there was a blockade. There was actually a blockade with like sticks and stones and sickles and seriously scary stuff. And they said, no, outsiders get no power. We will not let it. And those MSCB guys who were there said, we can't do anything, you sort it. And we had to have a meeting, very scary, people shouting at me in Marathi. My Marathi's got better over time, but they were shouting at me in Marathi. Basically saying, you guys, outsiders, who do you all think you all are? Come here, spoil our way of living. And it took so long to say, listen, we're not building a house. We only want electricity for our pump. We've got a bore well. We need electricity for the pump. And they were like, and again, what they didn't realize is we were going to be there again and again and again next week. They thought we'd come do this leisure home party over there. And these idiots coming bloody every week, knee-deep in mud, doing this, doing that, getting involved with the community. The kids now love us. The kids absolutely love us, which actually helped a lot because the kids love us, the parents love us a little bit. And there's been a little bit of acceptance, but it's taken such a long time because this outsiders was, and what water? We were two city girls doing, who are you guys, man? So I understand where they were coming from, and acceptance has taken a long time. We're not, there's no deep friendship, but acceptance, which is a big deal. And Maruti, who's our farmhand, who is now a full-time employee, has become the boss of the village because he's the only guy with a full-time job. There's nobody else who has a monthly salary. They all do odd work here and there whenever somebody has some building, doing some brickwork or somebody's goat or God knows what it is. But that's all they do. This guy's got a monthly salary. So he says, me boss ahe. I'm like, good for you. So he's also our HR manager because whenever we need labor, he sorts it.
So you were talking about your bore wells and how you got these. It was a big adventure to get those bore wells done, and you mentioned. I understand that it's you. There has to be somebody who sort of indicates where a bore well should be dug, and in your blog you talk about this whole process. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Finding water is not the easiest thing. There were many things we could do. We could go the scientific way and get somebody who would actually come with all his equipment. But that, again, we went in as poor farmers. We didn't know what was happening. That would have cost us 26,000 rupees. Whereas Mahesh, who is our farm consultant, came and said, that's not the way we do it here. We get somebody who comes in with a coconut and he finds water. Like the coconut finds water, the man finds water. The man and the coconut find water. Okay, this we have to see. We didn't believe it. Trust me, we didn't believe it. But we said, and he said, this is 2,300 rupees. We said, we can do that. We can really spend that much of money. And we had this man who came in with a dried coconut and he walked around the farm very seriously. And suddenly the coconut was lying flat on his. And suddenly the coconut would jiggle and the coconut would stand straight. And he'd say, there's water here. And I'm like, you're right. Yeah, right. I'm going to believe that. But he insisted. He said, there's water here. And then he walked around the whole farm and he found another spot where there's water. And we were honestly very, very skeptical because we didn't think a coconut could find water. But after much discussion, we decided to get somebody to dig a bore well. So the bore well rig came. And in both places, we found water in 30 meters, just 30 meters deep. People often dig to 200, 300 meters to find water. We found water in both places in 30 meters, which is nothing short of a miracle, pretty much like the coconut. So, yeah, we have coconuts that find water in rural Maharashtra.
So, and you actually saw this coconut?
Saw it, and I have a video of it, which I will show you.
And there's no explanation as to why the coconut?
No, because Sunil and Maruti walked around with their own coconuts because they were walking around 10 acres with a coconut takes a lot of time. So they kind of followed him. Maruti's coconut just jumped all around the place. Sunil's lay flaccid. So I have no idea what was happening. But it only worked with his energy. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But we found water in two places at 30 meters, which is how we've actually got year-round farming. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
So it seems pretty apparent in your book that there must have been various critical points when you thought maybe you should give up.
No.
But did you ever actually, you just wanted to...
give up was not something that...
contemplate.
It was, oh my God, now what do we do? There were many, many, oh my God, now. But let's end this. I don't think we've reached that stage.
It never sort of came a little narrowly.
No. Let's end this has not come, but... oh my God, not again has happened many, many times. Because the bureaucracy tested us, the middlemen tested us, the hamlet was angry with us, nature tested us, no electricity, no water. We've just had, but no, let's end this has never happened.
And what are some of the things that you've sort of, you speak about it in your book, but what are some of the lessons that rural Indian people have sort of, what are some of the most important lessons? We work on completely different, our idea of time is completely different. I need this now, I need this urgently. That's not the way it works. It'll happen when it happens. There may be a Devi Puja I know nothing about. There may be a weekly bazaar I know nothing about. There is no time, there is no deadlines.
things happen when they happen, and it took such a long time for us to say, we have to go with the flow. So go with the flow is not something my professional life ever taught me. Go with the flow is something I've learned now. Humility is what I've learned now. Professional life didn't teach me humility. But the farm humbles you. The farm humbles you every single day. Because you can never know enough.
And I mean, it seems from whatever I know of you is that sort of this passion for food went on to becoming full-time balcony gardening, or well, not full-time, but very flourishing balcony gardening, which then led to this 10-acre piece of land. So is that how it happened? I mean,
It is.
And
It is, because I thought my balcony garden was so successful. During COVID, I was growing more chilies than you can imagine. Karela, like 2 kilos of Karela every week, tomatoes, basil, mint, all my herbs. And I said, if I can do this,
you can do everything, anything.
a farm is just a few more acres, which is actually not the way it was. But if I can grow things here, I can grow things there. And honestly, growing things is the easiest thing that we've done. It was everything else that's been difficult. Growing is frankly the easiest part of it. I mean, unless nature does some horrible things or boars eat it up. But growing was the easiest part. It's the rest that's been a challenge.
And did anybody in your family did any growing?
No.
You said your mom.
When my mom,
your mom used to do in.
my mom had a bonsai. My mom was obsessed with bonsai, and in fact, I grew up in a home where, if you moved your elbow, you were knocking down a bonsai plant, and she'd probably kill you for it. But yeah, I grew up in a home where mom was absolute, and she could grow anything. She just touched something and it would go green. So yeah, I thought I'd inherited her green thumb.
And I mean, you and Sunil seem to like to cook a lot. So then, I mean, I suppose you tell us a little bit about the food adventures. And you therefore, this was grown on the balcony. So, and you were making this because that was grown there.
Both of us are, again, after my Rediff.com days, both of us decided we love cooking. Both of us love cooking. To go to London to the Cordon Bleu, and both of us are Cordon Bleu certified chefs. I'm a patissier, he's a chef. So, I mean, food is really a passion for us. We cook every day. And so when we had 400 kilos of tomatoes, we could make marinara. When we had 200 kilos of chilies, we could make chili pickle. If we thought cooking was rubbish, we wouldn't have been able to do any of this.
And on this plot, because you talk about those oyster mushrooms and all, but what is and about how the gentleman, I think Mahesh was his name, he'd always say like, no, it won't grow over here.
Sanjay, yeah.
What are some of if you can tell me, what are some of the things that, even though he said they won't grow over there, they did grow over here successfully? Because
black rice. My success with black rice has been phenomenal. I'm not doing it this year because despite the effort and the fact that it grows, the yield is very small. So we're actually wasting land just for my vanity project. But it worked. Oyster mushrooms, which was Suzanne's wish and dream, was such a success. But again, because we don't know, oyster mushrooms grow when they grow. So they grow today, and when they grow, you have to pick them and transport them to a cool place within 5-7 hours. So I'd suddenly get a call saying, oyster mushrooms ready, come. It's a 3-hour drive. And then what do I do with that oyster mushrooms? Again,
guest bedroom.
Yeah, no, they need to be in a cool place. Refrigerator space is running out. Who do I give them to? And all of them wouldn't eat oyster mushrooms. Sometimes I just say, listen, I can't run there every day, just take it. But they wouldn't eat it because something that's not grown in the sun there must be something bad with it. How can you have something that's growing in the dark? So they were all very suspicious about this thing that grew in a shed. They were not happy, but our oyster mushrooms were a huge success. They were fabulous. One day I'll build a proper shed. I can't even have refrigeration there because the electricity sometimes goes for 3 days. In fact, forget about all this fancy stuff. When I spoke to my doctor, he said there's so many snakes around there. Arti, keep anti-venom, which makes sense because I've seen a kid die because he was bitten by a Russell viper. Fine, I'll buy the anti-venom, I'll keep it, anybody in the hamlet or anybody around, but I need refrigeration for it.
Does anybody have a refrigerator in the hamlet?
No.
They don't have any. What is the most sophisticated equipment or appliance they have in this village?
TV.
Okay. So they get some sort of signal.
When it works, yeah. When it works.
And I'm sure this book sort of came about because when you would meet other people socially in Bombay, and I'm sure this whole adventure was a conversation stopper.
No. Actually, completely differently. This book came about because the first time we went off the highway and we were all like, we didn't know where we were going. We were looking at Google Maps, which said, okay, now you've passed Nagothani. Oh, now we'll reach Kolad. Kolad is the place where you have missile power. It was all, we planned it all. So we stopped for our missile power kit. 15 kilometers later, take this right. So we took the right and suddenly Google Maps said, unnamed road. All right. And then we had 8 kilometers on unnamed road. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me. And I literally started writing so I could remember what was happening. I would just write saying, someday I'm going to say all of this didn't happen to me. And then we reached this place and we couldn't reach the farm because there was no road to the farm. So we had to park in the hamlet and trudge the last 300 meters.
So you diaried all this.
And I said, I can't believe this is happening. And then I say, yes, what the hell is... So I literally started writing it for a personal memory. And then at some stage, I made it into a blog. And then I blogged for about 4 years. And publisher said, listen, this is material for a book because you've got a narrative now. You're not just doing individual episodes. There's a story emerging from this.
But it still must be a conversation stopper whenever you go. I mean, people must be asking you whether they may never ever buy even this big piece of land, but they must have 1,000 questions for you.
All the time. All the time. All the time.
What are some of the strangest questions that you get asked?
No, the strangest is because I make this marinara and I have no warehousing facilities. So I say within a month and a half, it all has to go because otherwise I can't keep anything in my fridge, right? Suddenly in December, somebody said, can I get 4 bottles of marinara? I'm like, no, that's only I get my tomatoes in March. By May, all my marinara is gone. I don't know why you're saying that. My bhajiwala has tomatoes right now. I'm like, okay, I don't, sorry. But
There's no use explaining.
yeah, how do I even start? Where do I start? But this year we got our first mangoes, which was very exciting.
Which mangoes were those?
We've got Hafus and Kesar we've got 400 trees of Hafus and Kesar. And then onto the old mango trees, we've grafted, on each of those old mango trees that came with the farm, we've grafted 8 varieties of mango, Totapuri and all of those. So again, once they grow, I don't know how I'm going to identify one from the other. I can tell what a Hafus looks like, but I don't know what a Totapuri looks like. But
And between 2021 and today, I mean, you've slowly sort of begun to understand this village life and these people and all that. But what are some of the things that you still don't understand?
almost everything. Seriously, almost everything.
I mean, it's like
Our interactions are, except for Maruti and his wife Vandana, who work with us, they keep very much to themselves. They're very suspicious about anybody from the outside. I think if you read my book, the Katkaris, which is the tribe, were classified as criminal tribes by the British and were therefore treated as the lowest of the low. And if anything happened, they were the ones who were picked up. They were the ones who were... And that suspicion has remained. They will not go to a government hospital, come what may. They will go to a private clinic because they do not trust the government. They think they'll do something. So what do I understand about them? Honestly, nothing.
So they're still as isolated as, let's say, a tribal village in Andaman.
Completely. Even
They
the
don't
other...
go to the city to work.
No, they'll be... somebody from recently Pune will come and give them all maybe 30,000 rupees straight into their bank account, truck them, 20 of them to Pune for bonded labor is not the right word to use, but they'll be trucked there to build somebody's house, to do something, and then because they've got the money in the bank, they'll go.
So, I mean, they're trucked to do what kind of work? Just basic...
house building, so road works. Manual labor.
So that's how, and they have that money and that.
And then that's it. And a lot of ration goes free because they are backward classes. So they get their rations for free.
Mhm. And tell me a little bit about balcony gardening, because I'm sure a lot of people watching this podcast will be interested in it. So, like, I mean, what are some of the one or two tips for the success of a balcony garden?
Try everything. Every time I travel anywhere, whether it's in India, outside, I go to garden centers and I buy seeds. They cost nothing. Come back, try it. Water it every day. If you think the pot is too wet, don't water it the next day. You just use your common sense. Give it enough sunlight. Easy. It's basic common sense. Just try it. And there are so many things that works. I've had Laukis grow on I've had lots of Karela. My poor husband, who never liked Karela, now has to eat it once a week because I'm just growing it all the time. My tomato. So seriously, it's just a trial and error, but everything grows in small pots. All my herbs are there all the time. My curry patta tree is now almost 6 feet tall.
And what are some of you said you bring seed packets from all over the world?
All over, anywhere.
So what are some of the things that work when you brought from abroad?
Zucchini. Zucchini worked beautifully. My pak choy has worked beautifully. I have pak choy all the time now. I have arugula all the time now. So these are things that have worked. I tried rosemary. It didn't work. It worked in the winter and then it dies because it needs the cold weather. So I had one crop in the winter, then it didn't work.
What about strawberries or something like that?
Not tried. But you never know.
So this is a sort of, this is my last question. So, this is sort of a slice of Indian life, and it's probably pretty similar in many rural areas. But it's a slice of Indian life that we citywalas don't know nothing about, never understand, never ever empathize.
Will never. I'm often asked, in fact, a question that people have asked about this book is how much of it is fiction. And they do not believe when I say every word happened. Because they believe, okay, you have a kind of story, but you fictionalized it. And I'm like, no, I've made it humorous because otherwise it would just be too grim.
You chat GPT did or AI did or something?
No, they think I just fictionalized the story. You've just taken it and I've just made it lighter. Because when it happened, it was, a lot of the things that happened were fairly grim. But I'm not going to write a grim book. And then at some stage when you step back, you say, oh my God, that was hilarious. And that's the stage when I actually wrote the book, was when I said, oh my God, that was hilarious. I can't believe that happened. But every word in this happened. Every word in this happened. So yeah, no fiction.
And even the good and the bad parts, everything has been life-changing.
It's been life-changing. The farm has been life-changing. And honestly, the hardest thing I've ever done.
Would you recommend it?
Rediff.com was a breeze.
Would you recommend that to somebody else, or you think it's really very personal kind of thing that some people can?
I would say step out of your comfort zone. So again, mine turned out to be farming, but step out of your comfort zone because it's amazing what's out there. It could be painting, it could be climbing a mountain. Just do it, because you don't do it now. When are you going to do it? I had somebody call me the other day and said, I'm so inspired by your book. But if I was 20 years younger, I would have definitely done this. But now I'm hitting 40. And I'm like, sweetie, I'm 60. And I don't even know what to say to you anymore. So yeah, just go. Seriously, step out of your comfort zone, do it. But if you do this, go in with your urban confidence and meet rural reality, which is very tough. And it'll whack you in the face time and again. But I do this again in a shot.
Arti, it was very nice having you, and I wish that all readers should read Arti's account, it's very humorous, but it tells a lot about India and a lot about life beyond bigger cities and even, tier 2 cities and tier 1 or tier 3. And so please get your copy and read about rural adventures in farming.
Thank you so much for having me, Heisi. It's been absolutely a delight talking to you and being back here. And yes, please read my book, and I'd love to know what you think of it.